It was impossible, not just improbable, but impossible. And yet there it was. The woman Coronis had once loved was standing on the hilltop in front of him, dressed in a flowing purple gown, a sphere of antimatter floating above her outstretched hand. Her gray skin and white eyes stood out from the red and orange flame grass that surrounded them, and the red, orange, and yellow fires from the battle raging all around them and in the fields below. The air above Ivara's hand was wavering and fading in and out, as if its very existence was being called into question. Coronis could tell what it was as he reached out with his mental energy into the air molecules and further still to the atoms, the particles. Sure enough, there were protons and antiprotons, electrons and positrons. Ivara was somehow reversing charges, manipulating the properties of particles, and creating antimatter. Her white eyes became black and swirled as she glared at him. Over a woman you've never even met. She shook her head as wind blew through the tall flame grass that surrounded them. Please tell me you found her at least. Cronus frowned. I still don't know who she is. A fleeting face in a crowd. Ivara nodded. The most beautiful face you've ever seen. She shook her head again. I regret learning the skill to decipher neuronal firing. The ability to read minds is both useful and excruciating. I warned you against it. Cronus smiled through his helm as he held his shield out in front of him and held his glowing yellow sword ready. He knew they'd prove as useless as his armor against the foe he now faced. Nothing more than a formality. He had to be careful with any attacks. He knew it took every bit of concentration Ivara could muster for her to control the antimatter she was creating. If she lost control, the entire world could be destroyed. Worse yet, the entire universe and every world in existence. In the hills and valleys below, men and women in brown, drell skin armor, yellow breastplates fought men in purple plate armor. The metals used by both sides were lightweight and allowed for full range of motion, but were still almost impregnable, marvels of psychokinetic craftsmanship. The clanks of swords and shouts and screams of war filled the hills with sound. The purple armored Kalians were far better equipped, for Ivara's forces controlled most of the resources in the known lands. Though Heavenscrest, the mountaintop city founded by Coronis, used psychokinetic advances to their advantage as much as possible, the Kalians were equally advanced, but also far wealthier. Black combustibles flew every which way through the air above the battlefield, moved in unnatural trajectories by those who could manipulate their movements with their minds. The combustibles whistled as they flew, duetting with the wind and exploding in loud cracks as the chemicals inside them met the air. Some went off in the sky with impressive displays of fire and light, while others tore through groups of soldiers on the ground. The smell of smoke and burnt chemicals permeated the setting. The Kalians had the upper hand. They outnumbered the Heavenscrest soldiers 3-1, and they were pressing their advantage. And I warned you against trying to glimpse the past and future, Ivara said, but it seems your research regarding the fourth dimension has given you some interesting insights. She smiled as her eyes swirled like black holes. Coronis pushed out with his mental energy, trying his best to clear his mind and block her attempts to read his thoughts. He tried to control his neurons as they fired. He tried to mask the mental energy, but he knew it was of no use. Part of him was impressed with how far his former pupil and former lover had come in her psychokinetic pursuits. If only he weren't facing her in battle. It seems you've glimpsed the fate of Heavenscrest, she said, still smiling. And it disturbed you, didn't it? You saw that my army will conquer your beloved city and raise the flags of the golden coin of Kale, and your army will be wiped out completely. Every soldier will be killed to the last man. The Heavenscrest army will be no more, and your beloved city of Heavenscrest will be conquered. Beauty is fragile. Cronus frowned as he gazed at Avara's pretty gray face. Everything that means anything to you will be destroyed, she said. But not in our lifetimes, Cronus said. Gave him little solace. No matter, I can die happy with the knowledge I've pulled from that idealistic mind of yours. Cronus frowned as he held his shield in front of him. A large eye symbol was painted on it in black. It didn't have to come to this. The wind howled past him as the sphere of antimatter above Avara's hand grew slightly in size. Oh, I know it didn't, Avara said. You're the one who destroyed our relationship over a fleeting face, as you called her. Come on now, Cronus eyed her through his helm. You're deluding yourself, and you're being unfair to me. You know we had issues long before that. If you had those thoughts, you hid them from me. You should have spoken up. It wouldn't have changed anything, Cronus said, but you must have been able to see that we were growing apart. Of course I could. We have different ways of seeing the world, Avara. You see it as something for you to take advantage of. You've always thought the world owes you something. Even when we first met, and I've always thought in terms of what I can do for others, for society. I thought you'd changed, but... Avara smiled and shook her head. You're the one deluding yourself, Cronus. You think you're so high and mighty, so morally just. She glared at him with her swirling eyes. You told me you'd stay with me forever. You said you'd always be there for me no matter what, to protect me, to look out for me. You made promises and you broke them. You were the one who was supposed to defend me and care for me, but you hurt me far worse than any sword ever could. Cronus could see the tears forming in her eyes, and it broke his heart. I'm sorry, Avara. Those were childish promises I should have never made. Were they? She wiped the tears away. Were they, Cronus? Or were they intentional lies? I was young. I was naive, and you took advantage of me. I loved you, Cronus countered. Part of me still does. Explosions tore through the sky all around them. Cronus hoped they wouldn't distract Avara and blow her antimatter out of control. Though if the emotional turmoil of their conversation wasn't distracting her, Cronus wasn't sure what could. I used to be different. Avara looked into Cronus's eyes. I used to believe in what was right and true, that there was universal goodness, that we all had to just strive for it. Her face turned angry. But now I don't believe in anything. I can't trust anyone after what you've done to me. My heart used to know how to love, but now I only know pain and suffering. My heart only knows anger, hatred, and resentment. I'm sorry, was all Cronus could say. Avara nodded. Sorry doesn't mean anything at this point. She smiled, a wicked smile. I'm going to destroy you for what you did to me. I'm going to take it out on this world, this universe. I'm going to destroy all of it. If there is a great creator, I'm going to make him suffer as I destroy all of his creation. She watched the ball of antimatter floating above her hand fluctuate. If you want to read more, look for my book, Heroes and Legends, Book 1, The Champions of Heavenscrest. I'm Michael Monroe. And this is available on Amazon. Just search for Heroes and Legends by Michael Monroe. Thank you.